Renee Bays, Rakim John, 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 Renee Bays, Rakim John.
Hey y'all, it's me, Bays, the hee-haw huntress herself.
We don't care.
And
I'm kidding. I love you.
You know, like, can we just have some positivity on this beginning of this, I don't know if it's a beautiful week, but I'm hoping it's a beautiful week. Anyway, I'm Bays, and welcome to Podcasts of Color, where of course, this week, 3 trash bags come together to make sense of the world.
Of
I know, like, it's just like, I know.
Of course.
Yes, I know. We know. We miss Rainy too, but when he can be here, he will be. We really miss our sister. We miss her.
Because we are sister.
Yes. So who are y'all?
I'm Rakim, and I am the drug that Lady Gaga was on last night at the Grammys.
Dang, what drug was that?
I don't know, but I would like to see it.
I would like to see
I would like to.
Bitch, yes. I need some distractions, you know?
But she literally looked like the ring girl coming out of like the well. It was amazing. I loved it. Or like Valdo from like Soul Calibur, if you know what that is. She was just like everywhere. It was great. Anyway,
my name is John.
I know.
I'm John. I like her and he as pronouns, preferably her. And I would say that Lady Gaga was tripping off some acid, because I don't think marijuana would do that to you.
Not the weed I smoke.
Not the weed I was. That doesn't. And I don't think that's. No, she wasn't drunk. That is definitely not a drunk. So yeah, I would say it's acid.
Maybe she was paying homage to like Bradley Cooper's character in A Star Is Born when they were.
Oh, you're right.
Maybe that's what it was. Like,
it's what's it called? When they research their character before the
method acting.
Yeah, she's method acting. Oh wait,
Leto.
She's capital METH.
Oh no.
Acting. Just kidding.
You think she was partying before the Grammys? Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
I agree.
Who knows?
If anybody was into PNP, it would be Lady Gaga.
A Star Is Born, capital T.
Oh no!
Yes. Doesn't she have a song called Kim Sex?
She does. Wow.
Wait, does she really?
No, actually, no, you're lying. No, I think that was Mariah Carey.
He was so excited. She did.
I wasn't excited. I was just like, that sounds accurate. That's all.
No,
I mean, but I could see it.
Yeah.
Is it unbelievable? No, not at all.
Absolutely not. I'm kind of surprised she doesn't have a song called that, actually.
She might. We don't know. I'm not a stan, so I don't know her discography, but
John, resident Born This Way.
You know, I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar. I don't know her, but
the Kim Sex or the song?
The Kim Sex.
Okay.
Okay, so the question of color. Sorry, that like, Chile. Anyway, you know what really cracks me up is when I'm out and I hear other people saying Chile.
Yes.
And I just have like a moment where we just like, they'd be like, Chile, and I'd be like, Chile.
Like, Chile.
And we just like come together.
You just join the conversation.
Chile, and then you're like, Chile?
Wait, what?
Well, you see them and they're like Chile, and then you're like, Chile?
Chile? Chile.
Is this a safe? Chile. It's like a Pokemon. Chile.
It really is. And we have a whole conversation. Okay, so the question of color this week is: what problem or situation did TV or movies make you think would be common, but when you grew up you found out it wasn't? I will go first, just to knock it out really quickly. I have 2. So my first one is, I remember seeing Mean Girls, and it terrified the fuck out of me because of Mean Girls. Because Mean Girls came out before I was in high school. So by the time I got to high school, I was expecting who's gonna be the unfriendly black hotties? Who's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna be what? Like, where are the jocks gonna be sitting? Who are the nerds? Like, I was like, where is all this? And while like, yes, the jocks certainly hung out with each other, like the football players definitely hung out with each other. It felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like the nerds hung out with the football players, and the football players like like if the nerds were cool, you know what I mean? Like if they were funny or if they were engaging, there was like a mix, you know? It wasn't just one or the other. It felt like everybody who was just like popular was just popular for whatever reason they were popular. Some people were just pretty. Some people were just really funny and that was why they were popular. And some people just knew the right people. And I think that was like the biggest shock for me when I got to high school, because it actually made me relax, because it was like, okay, like it's not just based on, you know, what sport you play or like what club you're in. The second one I would say is that I would have my shit together by 25. That was the biggest lie. I really thought like the way they have it done, you know, you go to college right after high school and, everything goes smoothly. You finish in 4 years with no problems outside of that. It's a little bit tough, you know, it's a little bit expensive, but you can get through it. Your parents have a savings for you, so you don't have to worry about college debt. You know, like there's no stressors that elongate your time in college. So it takes you exactly 4 years to complete. So by the time you're 22, you're done. And you have your dream job waiting for you when you get out of college. And then you find the one probably in college and you guys get married and you spend the rest of your lives together. And I thought that by 25, I would have all of that.
Drag.
Oh.
Yeah, so yes, thank you TV for setting those unrealistic expectations.
I love how everyone was like laughing and getting along until Bae said having your shit together by 25, and then John and I were like,
I mean, but did you not, like, were you not one of those kids in high school who was like, by the time I'm 25, I'm gonna be ready to have kids. Yeah. I'm gonna be ready for the next step in my life. I'm gonna have all my shit together. You thought, like, 25 seems so old. Like, you were like, I'm gonna have my shit together.
Oh, yeah. I literally told myself that when I first got to UCLA that I'd have a Vogue cover by 25. Oh, man.
Wow.
Also that New York is affordable. And that you can afford to live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Or that you'd have space. Sorry, I could really go on. So I'm going to let you guys go.
See, what you want to do isn't necessarily what you're going to do.
Can I go next?
Yeah, go next.
See.
Okay, Duolingo. Okay, so, practicing. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes. Para esculo? I don't know.
What did you say, escrow?
No, esculo? Is it for that?
Oh, okay. No. Okay.
Girl, it's been a minute.
You said, did you say escrow?
On my Duolingo.
I heard.
No, not escrow. You stupid.
I was like, okay, we just said we couldn't buy houses. Okay, so, I'm gonna get dragged for this, but, I thought dragons were real till like 3 years ago. Because of TV.
3 years ago?
I thought this was a safe space.
I mean, damn, girl.
So
you like one of those people on Twitter that's like, wait, I didn't know about this.
I was today years old when I found out.
Today years old when you found out that dragons didn't. Oof.
Okay,
Chile.
Here is why. Because I went to a Christian school. They didn't teach me shit. So I thought that dragons were alive back when dinosaurs were alive. And that they went extinct when the meteor hit Earth. I then was in some kind of elective class, and I found out that was not true. It was in my folklore class when we were talking about dragons, and I remember saying something like, "Are dragons not extinct?" And the class was like, "Are you dumb? Like, did you think that they were going around blowing fire?" And I was like, well, no, but I just thought that the fire breathing part was the part that was made up, and that dragons actually kind of did exist in some kind of way, but they're like completely fictional. So, yay, the dumb bits jumped out. I know I kind of regret telling that story because that's really dumb.
You know, we all have our moments. We all believe. Remember when you thought that girls didn't have colons?
But you're supposed to give an example where you thought something was dumb to me.
But I said we all have our own things, and I don't have anything like that, so that I just decided to point out another instance of you being a dumb bitch. So, yeah.
Oh, man. I thought that was about to be comforting, and then it was like, so remember when you were also dumb this time?
Remember that other time you was a dumb bitch? Remember when John, remember that time, and we did this on the show when we played Never Have I Ever, and John got himself out?
Oh my God.
Because he thought that What is it? What did you think? You thought like you could?
I thought you
have
had
done
to
this?
say like what you did do, and I took my own finger away. So
So you were literally playing the game like, so what you're gonna do is already necessarily what you did do.
it was
When is my dumb moment happened? I'm trying to think. Oh, when I thought when I said epitome.
Oh wow, haha. So I'm over here talking about dragons are real and colons, and John's talking about that, and you're talking about epitome, which is still just a mispronunciation of epitome. Fuck you, bitch.
Okay, bitch, listen, I'm well read. What can I do?
You know what?
Like, I'm sorry.
By the
Do you
time-
want me to lower myself?
Okay.
Do you want me to lower myself? Do you want me to be a dumb bitch?
Okay, you know what? By the time this episode is over, I'm gonna find something for that ass. I'm gonna comb back through my
Please
memory.
do, actually. I think it would be funny. Like, I want to be relatable. I want to be #relatable.
So being dumb is
That's how Trump got to be president.
that's T actually.
That's T, actually.
that was like
I was doing it at work all day yesterday with my gay coworker, and we were just like, that's T, actually.
But what was that thing, Baze, that you were like singing or like humming, or you had me thinking something the other day. It was, I can't remember. You said something in the group chat and I literally kept repeating it all day. It was something about like black people. I can't remember.
I don't recall.
Ugh, whatever. I'll think of it.
Well,
later.
anyway, Jean McGonagall. What's your thing?
when I was younger, I watched a lot of like after school specials, and they made it look like there was always like a resident drug dealer at every school. You know, like someone like, oh, that guy has the pot. And
Yeah.
I never had that person at my school. and even
Wait. So were you looking for them and couldn't find them, or?
well, no, like the way they filmed it, like they made it look like it was like this horrible drug that ruins your life, and like here we are now, it's like legalized and everyone's
And
doing
literally
it in
saving
public.
our lives.
Literally, it's like being prescribed by doctors, and I'm just like, I thought this was going to be an issue. Like, you know, when you were kids, like, you thought marijuana was like the worst drug, and then you realize when you're older, like, I think the bar just went higher because, like, everyone does marijuana. Like, when the hospital, like, oh, no one really cares that you do marijuana, but, like, it's the hard drugs that we're looking for. And so I think that's what really scared me in school, is like, oh my God, marijuana is the worst thing. And now, like, here I am doing it before bedtime because...
And when I wake up and in the middle of the day. And after work. Sometimes during work.
Ooh, not an addiction at all, but yeah, it's not a problem. And, you know, if you do it at a moderate pace, you'll be fine.
The way that you said that at first was...
Cute.
Yes, the way you said that at first was so funny because you were just like, so... unfortunately, there wasn't a drug dealer at my school.
That's why I was like, I thought you were like upset that there wasn't.
No, I just like the way the way that marijuana was perceived back then was just like the worst, you know. Drugs and alcohol, like the Dare Project, and now it's just like no one even does that anymore. I mean, I'm not in elementary school, so I can't tell, but like. Does anyone do Dare projects anymore? I don't know.
I actually don't know. I remember they made us like when I was in elementary school. They made us like spell it out with like we had to get a line. So that we
wait, what does it stand for? Okay, wait. So for those of you who don't know, Dare was this like drug-free program.
Drug-free is the way to be.
Like,
I remember.
yeah, it like it swept the nation. Like in the 90s, like every kid was like sporting a Dare shirt, or like your school was trying to get you to sport it. And this,
you guys probably know it as like that T-shirt that's at a thrift store that you guys love to wear. Now.
Yeah,
like the youngins love to wear that now.
It's my dust rag now, actually.
You know.
Yeah.
Is it really? D. I won't do drugs. A. I'll something.
Oh,
I have an
it's
attitude. I don't know.
Dare
R.
stands.
I will respect myself. E. I will something. This pussy for everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait.
Drug abuse resistance education. Wait, did you guys know that the Dare mascot was a lion?
No,
Yeah,
wait,
you
it was
remember
like
that?
a.
Oh, I
it,
forgot
wasn't it
about
similar to like the Lion King looking one, or I don't know. Let's see.
It's It's a pant. He's like
He was
wearing
like
the
a cartoon
shirt, but
lion.
he's wearing no pants. But
Oh, it's a
anyway.
furry?
He looks like a Looney Tune.
Yeah,
He's wearing no pants?
kind of a furry.
I mean, I'm sure there was some furries that
no.
found out.
Oh,
But they were
no.
furries through
Oh,
that.
my God.
are you saying that the Dare line has awakened some kid's sexuality?
Oh, wait. Are you guys
I'm
sure?
certain.
This
If King
lion,
Trident could awaken my sexuality,
this lion looks like it does drugs, though. So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I just Googled Dare Lion.
Yeah.
And
This lion looks like he
it's called
parties.
okay, I'm glad you said it because
you say he looks like he parties, you know, and I think that's really gonna wrap up the Minutes of Color for today. I mean, excuse me, the intro for today.
Wow,
We're on to the Minutes of Color. Yes, you just like took that innocent cartoon and you made it.
is
something
it innocent
that it
because
did not
this
need to
lion
be.
looks like that it's
So-
propped up at the bathhouse, knees up, just waiting
Ah!
with the Dare shirt on. Like I
See?
dare you to be inside me. Like
Wow,
Okay,
welcome back.
brum,
We'll
brum,
see you on the
brum.
Minutes of
Wow.
Color. Brum, 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 brum.
Brum, brum, brum. Hi guys, we're back, and hopefully a little less dirty than we were in the previous segment.
okay, shut your bitch
where
ass
should-
up, but okay.
What? Are you coming for me?
No, I'm coming for the people who were coming for you.
Oh, see, and this is what we call solidarity, people. It's not a myth; it's real, and it's happening here on Podcast of Color.
Happy Black History Month. See? We do
I
support
mean,
each
so
other.
first of all, do we need to do Black History Month over? Like, do we need to like move it into March? Because I feel like people are just doing all kinds of reckless, crazy ass shit this month.
Don't
for
move
no
it to
reason.
March. Because you
Don't move
know
it to March?
that every month is something, and if you move the nigga history month, everyone's gonna hate us. So just leave it in February.
That's true, but they hate us anyway, so.
If you move it to March, Gina Rodriguez literally might have an aneurysm, so don't do that. Like,
Well, if she doesn't, Michelle Rodriguez will, and that's my segue into talking about Michelle Rodriguez. She spoke out in defense of one Liam Nissan
What?
Ultima.
What?
Chile.
Yeah.
Chile, Chile.
She basically, I don't feel like reading the whole thing. She basically said that, did you see the way that he kissed Viola Davis in Widows? Like, there's no way he's racist. Because he made out with her. I was like, do you know?
Oh,
Do
I'm
you
acting.
know about Sally Hemings? Have you heard of Sally Hemings? did you just like ignore all of like the slavery portion of history class? Like,
Or the part where he said he was going to go out and murder a random black person.
I mean, or that part. Or the part that when he said that, I am confusion. Rodriguez, explain.
Talk to us.
Because I am confusion.
What's wrong, sis? Talk to us.
What's up with the Rodriguezes right now? Like, Gina Rodriguez is on some shit. Michelle Rodriguez is on some shit. Like, what's going on there? What y'all doing?
Anti-blackness is global.
Ain't that
oh my
a
God.
fact?
Niggas hate, okay, I was gonna say niggas hate niggas everywhere, which that's tea actually.
That's
but I meant, everyone else hates niggas everywhere too. So it's like, it's just like, I think it's just, I don't know why. I guess what's interesting to me is like, okay, like, what does this do? Even if you said, look at how he kissed Viola Davis, which, ew, gross. Like, did you see Widows, by the way? Did y'all see it?
Yeah, I was like, that's exactly why I think he's racist. That's even more evidence against him, the way he was swallowing up her mouth.
Period. Because if you listen, people that aren't racist don't kiss like that. I hate in movies when they do
He
these.
was making her deep throat his tongue. It was gross.
People don't kiss like that in real life. Stop doing that in movies. People don't like. Well, maybe Sam Smith does after those pictures that I saw. But people, most people aren't dementors and don't try to suck out the soul of the person that they're making out with. So he's a racist. Period. So I don't know why I don't know why Michelle Rodriguez is like committing career suicide like this. Like, girl, first of all, you were supporting character in Widows and you got shot. Like, or no, you didn't get shot, but
Wait, didn't she?
no,
Or was
she
it
did. That was Elizabeth.
Oh, DeBecky.
DeBecky. Yeah. Oh, we stand.
DeBecky. I love her name. To back that is DeBecky.
Oh, I was gonna say Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and I was like, ooh, yikes. Wrong white.
Oh God, I forgot about her. Didn't she?
Yeah,
she
that's a name I
that
haven't
show
heard
for
in a while.
for
Rosie
Fox
O'Donnell
News, right?
scalped her ass, and then she was like, so I'm gonna go. Thanks.
She was like, see ya.
See ya. But anyway, the point is just that, like, I don't get why y'all are like throwing yourselves in front of like career suicide for this. Like, for what? Like, Liam Neeson won't do the same thing for you, girl. You think Liam Neeson's really gonna sit there and be like, Michelle Rodriguez isn't this, and this? Of course not. You don't know who you are. Like,
Yeah.
like, please, you know what Viola Davis did? Shut up. Like, I know she probably went and got the nearest bottle of mouthwash and gargled.
And didn't say a thing. Did you know that shutting up is free? I bet you didn't. You couldn't have. I was like, where's your publicist?
Don't have
Like,
one.
there was no reason for you to comment on this. This had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And if they asked you, you could have been like, whew, you know what? Like, no. Or you could have just been like, okay, maybe celebrities like don't live in do they think like if I say this, I'm going to get dragged? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they must. Like, it
Right?
happens so frequently.
like
they
you have to
be
have
aware
people
of it.
around you that say stuff like this. Like, this was said in an interview. This is what's also shady about publications too, because like they know that that's some BS, and instead of saying, girl, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
they run with it. Like, I know, like, the Liam Neeson thing was actually supposed to be a whole other story. And when he said that, the reporter was like, oh, so tell me more about how you're racist. Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's been the theme of it. It's just been like, Liam Neeson did not need to tell this story. There was no reason for him to tell this story. Nobody asked about this. And Michelle Rodriguez didn't need to comment on it. And it's just very fascinating to me the way that people are just willingly putting themselves out there like that. But, you know, you do what you got to do, I guess. I was never like a stan of either one, so like I won't lose any sleep over this or supporting anything that they work in. But
same.
yes,
I
so
loved Michelle Rodriguez in Resident Evil, but whatever, girl. Like, movies are trash. I can go without watching them.
We're gonna switch gears real quick. So if you follow me on the Instagram, you will have seen my story where I posted about a trans woman who was attacked in West Hollywood. Her name is Alba Martinez. She created a GoFundMe just to help her with like the basic necessities of like existing in this capitalistic society. And I don't mean that like jokingly, like dead ass.
Yeah, that's real.
But just especially as a trans woman of color, she says that she was ganged up on by 5 gay men in West Hollywood, and she was able to raise. So her goal was $3,500. She was able to raise $8,799, which is like beautiful. But it is ugly that happened to her, you know, by people that and it came from people that should have been like supporting her, that should have been defending her. And also like in a place like West Hollywood, you know, because I think say for us, you know, it's a much safer space. We can walk in and feel like I can walk down the street holding hands with a guy and not worry about it. But like the fact that a trans woman can walk in the same area and still be in danger is really like heartbreaking, but unsurprising, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they release the names of the people who like?
So she didn't file a report. So that's because they contacted, according to WeHoville, she has not filed a report, which I don't
blame her.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to do the same thing that they did with Jussie Smollett, where they like feel like, oh, like she's hiding something. But I mean, like, the cops are not our friends. They're definitely not trans women of color's friends. So like, it's unsurprising that she wouldn't reach out to them to help her through this. Like, as we know, our government is not random strangers on the internet are more likely to help us than our government and the people in power. So
Right.
And also too, like, I'm glad you brought up the Jussie thing, because like when people were talking about, oh, like, why, like, he's hiding his phone, blah blah blah. I really want people to think about, like, for a 2 sec. I know we said this before, but really think about like what could be on your phone that they would think about, right? And then also, like, even if it's nothing on your phone, like, let's just say you have like parking tickets or something like that, and then like you call the police or go to the police to report it, and they say, oh, well, I looked up your name and you have this. So we're actually going to detain you and talk about you for this, and this. And they do that because of how you look or something like that. So you guys really have to like think about like all kind of stuff. The same way that we say like, you know, like black people are always talking about how we get nervous when the police come around because we don't know like how our lives are going to feel. Like other people are able to feel that too. And trans people are definitely, and guess what? Trans people can be black too. And some of them are. So a lot of people don't go to police for a lot of reasons, and that's why this sucks, because they're not even, I mean, like, it's like, if you're going to exist, at the bare minimum, like, help people, and it's like, it's like, sorry, it's just frustrating, because what can you do? Like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to use this opportunity to talk about London Jade, who is a trans girl. She's a rapper. She's a friend. She's living in the Bay Area right now, and she was assaulted by her boyfriend, who was she's a sex worker, and her boyfriend was basically protecting her. And you know, because obviously that's a very dangerous thing. You know, and in the Bay Area, I think that I feel like we talked about this before, and I don't remember the exact details of it, but I believe that when we were talking about Kamala Harris and how she helped to get Backpage shut down, it forced a lot of sex workers onto the streets to walk the stroll again. And so it's very dangerous, and her boyfriend ended up turning on her and robbing her and leaving her with like literally nothing. So I'm going to post her GoFundMe and her Venmo in our description. Because, you know, beyond the fact that she's just like a human being, she's such a survivor. She's been through so much, and she's so talented. She's such a talented rapper, and I really, really want to see her get the opportunities that a lot of other people have gotten, because like she's so talented. She has so much to, like, I feel like, give the industry. And I just also think it's like important because, you know, everyone was like super on top of like Jussie and like supporting him when he got attacked, and I'm just like, where is that support for like the trans women that are going through this every day? So yeah, and and also, shit, what's her name? I need to find that black trans woman who was shot. The one who was shot at, and she's alive, and she has a GoFundMe. I'll add it to the thing, but she was chased in the parking lot. I feel like her name is Candy, but I don't remember exactly because it was like 2 weeks ago that I read the story. But I'll add that as well. Yeah. Anyway, moving forward, did you guys read about Candace Owens bullshit?
What
this week? Candace Owens,
what?
Conservative,
oh no,
black girl.
No. I was gonna say what a shit show. Like, I watched the video, and this girl straight up just. Sorry, I'll let you introduce the story. Like,
so no, I mean, yeah. So she said, I actually don't have any problems at all with nationalism. I think the definition gets poisoned by the elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. Whenever we say nationalism, the first thing we think about is, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a national socialist. But if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not nationalism. I'm thinking about how we would go bad down the line. I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think it's okay. So, I mean, she worded that super weirdly, but on top of that, what she was saying was some bullshit. What did y'all think of that? Someone
said on Twitter that I thought we traded Candace Owens for Ellen Pompeo a long time ago. And that is literally how I feel. Like, what an idiot. Like just dumb. Like, dumb.
My thing was, like, she's like, you know, what I really think is the problem here is globalism. That's where Hitler lost me. It's the global. It wasn't the killing of the 6 million Jews.
Not like genocide.
You know,
like
homosexuals and black people. It was the globalism.
Like, also, what's the problem with globalism? I am so confused by like I don't get, like, isn't globalism
Because-
just literally being open to other ideas from other countries and being open to like collaborations and
I think
like
that there's
economic policies and shit? Like, that's literally it.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with that?
I think it's super beneficial, but I think what scares a lot of people is, like, for example, there's a loss of, like, so for example, like in America, like there was the transatlantic accent and it no longer exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that like Katharine Hepburn used to talk. I don't know if you guys know who Katharine Hepburn.
No, we're dumb.
She talked like
remember?
this. She talked just like this, and she'd go to the movies and she'd watch movies, and her name was Katharine Hepburn. And
Spot
so
on.
like, there was
Spot
like,
on.
but there was like that there was like that way, and that was like considered like a upper class East Coast accent, and it got lost. And I'm not saying this is why it got lost, but like I think that as globalism happens and as the world becomes more connected, I think that people start to sound more similar. And I think that the cultures begin to blend more, and I think that scares a lot of people because they want things to be how they always were, and they want to maintain these cultural distinctions, and they don't want anything to bleed into anything else. A lot of people in Europe really hate that. A lot of nationalists in Europe hate that there's an EU because they don't like that all the European countries are tied together. They want their country to be this distinct thing, and so part of that is.
But I thought they don't see race.
Huh?
I thought people don't see race though.
Well, they do, but that's what scares them, is they're seeing all these people coming together and they're seeing like these exchanges of cultures, and they don't like that. Like, it's funny because they were fine when obviously they were invading other people's countries, but they don't like the idea of other people living in their countries. And so it's why you're seeing Brexit. Like, people like Brexit, like Britain benefited so much from being a part of the EU, and it's gonna suffer a lot from not being a part of the EU.
Already has.
But so many, yeah, it already has. I mean, the pound has like lost so much value, but like the end of the day, people still want to feel like they have their country and that it's theirs. And when they see other people that are not necessarily quote unquote from their country, they feel like there's something being taken away from them. And so when they see these blendings of cultures, that's what they don't like about globalism, is they don't like that. They don't like blending. And they don't like losing. There are some things I do feel like there's some things that get lost a little bit, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things that it's that big of a deal. Like, I don't think anybody's missing the transatlantic accent, you know? So, yeah. That's my opinion anyway.
So Baze went to school.
Yeah, I was wow.
Sorry, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong.
history.
I could totally be wrong, and that's okay. That's just how I'm seeing it.
You know how I said that by the end of the episode we were gonna make you feel stupid? I take that back. So, wow.
I love history. That's all.
We could tell. Wow, what a moment. You know, go off.
But
yeah. So who said the dumb shit again? Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And the gag is that Jack apologized to her on Twitter. He apologized for calling her far right.
But okay,
that's the real gag.
Who
we been knew
apologized?
Jack was like a Nazi though.
Jack from Twitter.
Oh.
He's the owner of Twitter or whatever.
Okay.
He's so and when I say ugly, I mean like as a person. I'm not talking about his physical appearance, but that man is just an ugly person.
Him and Mark Zuckerberg, they can all go, honestly.
He also, and it's also like making me look at like, well, I won't say any names, but he's making me look at certain activists.
Mark
with a little bit
Zuckerberg?
of a side. No, Jack. The association that he has with certain black activists on Twitter is making me side eye them a lot too. Because I feel like I've been hearing a lot of radio silence on their part when it comes to calling him to task for a lot of the things. Like when what was it, Myanmar, where he was like talking about, go to Myanmar. It's fine that there's having genocide over there right now. Just go over there for spiritual healing.
Yo.
Yeah. Shit. Okay, let's lighten it up. Ariana's album.
But we're never mind.
What?
I'm not gonna make.
Oh, you're gonna say lighten it up?
She's a white woman now, okay?
Not after this
lighten
album.
it up.
Like,
So let's lighten it up. Ariana's album. Thoughts, opinions. I stopped halfway through, so that's kind of how I feel.
wait, really?
Yeah. I think I'll revisit it, but yeah.
Oh, she put her whole ass ponytail into this. Like, the only bad song is Seven Rings, in my opinion. Like, Everything else like slaps.
Huh.
Oh, do y'all disagree?
Jean?
I was not expecting that opinion from you, Rakeem. I think I'm on with Baze. Maybe I need to re-listen to it, but I gave it one full listen, and I think she just released mostly the good stuff, and I don't even really like "Break Up with Your Boyfriend." I think, first of all, that song is disrespectful.
It's horrible, but it goes off. I mean, it's a horrible message.
As fuck. Like, I thought we were here for each other, and like here she is. Like, anyway, I think the video was trash too. It's
oh my god, I'm shocked that y'all are saying this. I thought we were gonna come on here and like
the video, yes, the video
is trash. It's like early 2000s, like it's cheap in this Hollywood Hills party that like looked boring as fuck. Like that party looked really boring. Nobody was there except for like a Bratz doll that Ariana Grande was like jealous of for some reason. And I do like Needy because I've just been in an emotional state lately. Like, that song Needy is really good, but I think she just released all the singles that are really good already, and everything else was just fillers.
Really? I thought the exact opposite. I thought she kept all the stuff that was good. Like, I think
NASA is growing on me, but...
NASA is that song! I'm a dance, babe. I'm a dance. You know like, it's so good. Like, Imagine is good. Needy's good. NASA's good. Bloodline's good. Fake Smile's good. Bad Idea. Twerk that ass. Back that ass up to it. Makeup is okay. Ghostin' is the one I don't get because everyone on Twitter was like, oh my god, wait till you get to Ghostin'.
I know. I don't. And then I think it's just topical.
And it was just like, and I was like, what is going on? And I was like, okay, I didn't understand the words she was saying there. In My Head's amazing. 7 Rings is trash. Thank You Next is obviously great, but it's like, it doesn't make sense on the album. And Break Up With Your Girlfriend I thought slaps, but it's a terrible thing to make a song about. I was like, girl, this is trash. But the gays, the gays are going to be living though.
The gays are already living. I've seen so many like gays with their captions like break up with their boyfriend, blah blah
That's
blah.
rude.
I'm just like, you guys are trash. Like,
also, okay, this might be, I know I'm not, I normally don't talk about this on the show. Stop sending me that shit. That's rude. And I'm gonna slap the shit out of you if someone else does that. Don't do that.
Wait, what do they do to you?
Send me that song. Like, that's, that's fucked up and that's rude and I will slap you. Anyway, keep going.
I don't know. I would give it a C+, B-.
Really?
Babe?
Oh, okay.
I really, honestly, was just like listening to it. So, like, I know when I like something, and when I was listening to this, I was also reading. So, to be fair, I've been trying to read more, so I've been kind of not super listening. But like, when I like a song, like, I'm in it. You know what I mean? And it'll pull me out of the book. Like, and this was just. I listened to it in order. So I listened to, what's the album called?
Thank You Next? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Listen, I don't know. I think I listened to probably the first 5 songs. So Imagine, Needy, NASA, Bloodline, Fake Smile, and I couldn't even like tell you which one was which. I just was not. It just didn't grab me. And so I didn't, and I also like got on the train, and then, you know, if you don't have like all of them downloaded by the time you get on the train, and then I just was like, okay, it's fine. I'll listen to it when I listen to it. So I think I'll revisit it and maybe I'll have a different opinion about it. But like from what I saw, I wasn't really impressed by it. And the video for that song didn't grab me at all. I actually listened to that song. That was Break Up With Your Boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Your girlfriend? Yeah, I didn't like that song. My only takeaway from that whole thing was that the guy in that was extremely hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is the guy?
Gorgeous.
Oh, you're talking about the Asian guy?
Yeah.
The friend or like the main guy?
Is there 2 guys in it?
Oh my god, I know him.
the model actor that's in that new movie with Yara Shahidi.
Yeah, I photographed him before. Holy crap!
Oh really?
Yeah. His name is Charles Melton.
He is gorgeous. But that was my only real takeaway from it. I thought the whole thing was weird. I thought like the gay baiting was a little odd.
Oh my god! Let me put his website back up. Let me put his pictures back on the website then.
I mean, somebody explained something to me. They said that the video was meant to like the other girl was meant to represent her or something. So like, I don't know. Maybe there was a deeper meaning, but like what I saw, it looked like gay baiting to me, and I was just like, eh.
Here's the thing: don't pay attention to any. Go ahead.
I just want to be more excited about her than I am, and I feel like this album, what I have heard, it doesn't feel like growth to me, and it just is.
Right.
I think like after a while, I just, if you keep doing the same exact thing over and over again, it's like the Lana Del Rey thing. Like I love Lana, and I even enjoyed her last album. I did enjoy it, but like we talked about this, like it sounds very similar to previous stuff, and so I'm not excited by it, you know. I still like Ariana, and I'll still probably bump it.
Yeah. I'm just confused about her like self-branding. She was like, hey, like the first few songs she came out with are very like sweet, like thank you. And then like I learned all this stuff from my past relationships, but also like break up with your girlfriend because I want to fuck you. Like, what is happening? I don't understand your process.
That's kind of why I liked it. Like, okay, so I will say that it did throw me off because Thank You Next made me think we were going to get a whole different album. And even in the context of the album, Thank You Next is to me the track that like sticks out like what? Because everything else is kind of like trap or whatever. I will say this though, it's not revolutionary or anything like that. I just think that the songs that she did make are really like catchy, and like I kind of feel the same way about it. Well, not the same way, but it's a similar feeling to how I feel about like Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen, I guess. Like it's just bop after bop after bop. So like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not looking for it to be like, oh, this is revolutionary or whatever, because it's not at all. It's definitely. And the thing is, Ariana Grande to me doesn't have artistry yet. Like to me, she's like a trend chaser, but she just chases trends a little bit better than everyone else because she sings really, really well. Yeah. Like to me, what I know Ariana is going to do whatever has been popular in the last like year, and then she's going to kind of sing like Mariah Carey on it, and that's what her album's going to be like. And Pharrell might pop up. So, but this I thought was just like really good songs using that formula.
No,
that's
you're
all.
right. I think trend chaser is a good word. I mean, she literally made a song about ghosting, which is a term that like it's very millennial, like very our time.
Like this album's very dated.
Topical. Yeah. I mean, it's topical. It's like meme-ish. Like, I don't know.
But I don't know if that's good though, right? Because it's like, to me, it's like, I guess I don't think people think of like long term. Like to me, this isn't an album that I would sing like if I was like, I don't know, like this isn't something that I think that I would sing like as like I would peg as like a career defining moment or anything that's like timeless. Like to me, this is very like 2019, and like if Twitter wakes up tomorrow and decides that like ghosting is not the word anymore, or like when, you know what I mean, like, or like there's a song where she says like it's a mood, it's a vibe.
Do you feel it's dated?
I feel like it dates itself because there's like a song where she's like, I hate when people do that. Like there's a part in the song where she says like, oh, it's a mood, it's a vibe, and I'm just like, well girl, when people don't say that anymore, like you're gonna date yourself and your music. So like why, like to me it's smart to make songs that like transcend any kind of like trend because they last the test of time, and to me this is not going to do that. I don't know if that was the purpose of the project. It's a fun little project, but it's not like a groundbreaking one. From what I took in, it just felt rushed, and I just wish she had taken the time to really like develop this album, because it felt like she's been feeling like a lot of things, which valid, like she went through a lot last year, but it just felt like rush. Instead of like taking the time to like process a lot of the feelings, she's just like, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling this and I'm feeling this, and here's your album. That's what I like, is that she did that, because I thought that she was going through so much that was a good way to process it, instead of fair. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's real.
Yeah. I took this album as like, this is her therapeutic album because she just had such a crap year. So I'm curious to see like what it's going to sound like. But I think the way you guys said is also valid as well, because I think what she said is, I'm going to vent my feelings to the soundtrack of Nigga. That's what kind of what she did. Yeah.
Real quick, another little swerve left. I wanted to talk about like some publishing news really quickly. So that is a book called The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. But it's a pseudonym. A.J. Finn is a pseudonym for a man named Dan Mallory. Dan Mallory is a waspy white guy from North Carolina who grew up very privileged. He went to Duke and then what?
Oh no, sorry. I was just watching Ant-Man and the Wasp last night, so when you said waspy, I was like, ooh, waspy. Oh, wrong wasp.
John, I'm tired.
Did you say I'm tired?
I'm tired. I'm so tired. He then went to, I think, Oxford, but don't quote me on that. This expose in the New York Times took me like a day and a half to read because I was just like, it just was so much information. I needed to take breaks. But he basically within a decade lied his way up the chain, of the publishing industry. He lied in a paper and said that, and lied his way into a program saying that like his mom had died from cancer. His mom, according to his dad, did have cancer when he was in high school, but she didn't die. He also lied about his brother dying from suicide. He lied to his boss to get a raise, which I actually can't hate on.
Honestly,
do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. He also lied his way into getting like this leadership position in these publishing companies. Which again, I'm like that. I can't hate on that. Like I can't hate on lying your way up.
But that first part.
But he also would send emails. So then he ended up getting fired because he lied to his boss. He would leave like pee near her desk. He would like leave cups full of pee near her desk. Yeah, this man was on another level. The story. No, let me not tell that because I don't know who knows that, and I don't want to like have it get back. But anyway, the point is he did that. After he was able to quietly leave the company, he moved to New York, got a like really good job with HarperCollins, and worked his way up to like editor, executive, from assistant to executive editor in a decade, in less than a decade. He would send emails back to his old coworkers claiming to be his brother and saying that he had like cancer and tumors and like was getting things removed and going through surgery and like all this like just all these elaborate ass lies. But he has such a distinct way of writing that he couldn't help himself but to like ID himself by his style of writing and the way that he was writing these letters claiming to be his brother. And when the interviewer met with his father, he basically sounded like the kind of person that would raise someone like this. He was like, oh, he's a good boy, but this and that. But like, keep in mind that this man is 39 years old. And he's like, yeah, he's a good boy. And, you know, it was rough on him because me and his mother separated for 2 years. And there was like 2 Thanksgiving dinners that I wasn't there for. And like trying to explain away like all the fucked up shit that he did. And I think why this story is so jarring to so many is because I want to say a few days before that, Wendy Liu published a piece for Bustle, and it's called "How 10 Women of Color Actually Feel About Working in Book Publishing." And it's just a bunch. They speak with these 10 women, and talking about what it's like to work in an industry that's so white. Apparently, white people make up 86% of the publishing workforce, according to this Bustle article. And women dominate the industry, but it's still, it's still
white women.
White women, yeah.
So that's even worse.
Yeah. So there's just so few people of color in these spaces, and and even fewer women of color in these spaces. And these women are talking about the stress of having to exist in these completely white spaces and having to carry the load of like trying to get more diverse books published. Because, like I can like when Mark was having his book sold to people, like there was a lot of people that were like didn't want to publish it because they felt like, oh, it's not going to do this or it's not going to do that. Mind you, the book is doing very well. But there were people that were like, didn't believe in the book because it was too diverse. It had too many. They already had a book like that, even though they didn't have a book like that. But, they don't want to have too many books about people of color or black people or books that have to do with like police brutality or books that have to do with like challenging the government or anything like that. Like, it's just like, if they can write 20,000 books about like, I don't know, like a white man going into space, but like if it's more than one book about a person of color doing one specific thing, then it's just too much and it's too similar. And so a lot of the stress of that falls on, a lot of the stress of getting these books out there and getting them published falls onto the few people of color that work in publishing, you know, the editors, the agents. And so, you know, these women are just talking about like the experiences they have. And Patrice Caldwell, who was an editor at Disney, had like, she was in this piece and she left, she quit her job, because she just was so stressed out, by the whole process, and talks about like people coming to her to ask, well, you know, is this racist? But then not really wanting to know the answer to that, just kind of wanting her to co-sign what they already want to do in the first place. And so like, that's the issue that we have. And it's like, it's why things like that Pepsi commercial with what's her name? What's that girl's name? What's the Kardashian name? Kendall. There we go. Kendall. It's why that Pepsi commercial happened. It's why that Gucci controversy happened recently, where they had like the turtleneck that turned into like the bottom of a blackface. It's why like, so, I mean, although I feel like they did that intentionally, so maybe that was less that, but like, I feel like part of why so many of these things happen and nobody, and we're all sitting here wondering, how did this get to this point, is because there needs to be more people of color in these rooms making these decisions. And so it's frustrating when you have someone like Dan Mallory being able to lie his way into these positions of power, and you have women of color who are getting into these industries and they're not moving up, or it's taking them forever to get to move up. You know what I mean? They're making so little money for the work that they're doing, the workload that they're taking on. They're dealing with the stress of being representative of who a black person should be, or who an Indian person or an Asian person is supposed to be. And they have to take on all the emotional labor from these white people who don't want to actually do the work to diversify this industry.
Right. And they gotta sit there and take the mental stress of like, okay, well, and they're probably black people that are there, but like, or like, can I say something? Do I speak up? Do I lose my job?
That's what they talk about in this piece. Yeah. Do I become offensive? Like, is it offensive if I have an issue with this? Do I have to choose my battles? When do I get to speak up? Is this doing too much? Am I going to get fired for saying this? You know, like, you have to second guess yourself so much. And the pay gap is real. Like, people are not making that much money. That's what they talk about in this piece too, is like finding out, like, one woman found out that her coworker was making like $20K more than she was, you know, like a year. So like, it's like, you know, you're like going into these industries and you're like trying to do your best, but like everything is beating you down, and you still have to deal with the stress of like trying to bring other people in after you and opening that, paying it forward, like we talked about last week. Right. So it's just frustrating to see so many hardworking women of color in this industry doing the work and still not getting half of what this man got, because this man, Dan Mallory, his book, I think was like, he got hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. I think it was like a 6-figure deal. It's getting turned into a movie starring Amy Adams next year. HarperCollins is still moving forward with publishing his second book. Yeah, it was a New York Times bestseller. So, you know, he's winning. Like, he's going to be okay. We just
talked about Amy Adams.
I was standing Amy Adams literally yesterday
night. And there's nothing wrong with Amy Adams. Like, she's an actress. Like, this has nothing to do with her. Okay, I'm just saying, like,
you have decided to restand.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with Amy Adams. I'm just saying that this is just, it's annoying that this got to happen for him. And it's annoying because it's like, how many other men in this industry, how many other white men in this industry have been able to breeze through because they were good liars or they knew the right person? And how many more women of color are exiting the industry? Like, they talk about the fact that a lot of women of color are just like leaving because they just can't handle it anymore. So, sorry, I didn't mean to go off like that, but anyway, we can move forward. So before we get into the Grammys, I felt like we can end this on the Grammys, but before we get into the Grammys, real quick, I wanted to talk about Cardi B and Offset. I really need this nigga to step off her back. Like, get the fuck back. Like, why are you on her so tough?
Period.
I need to know this. This man is ruining her pictures. Like, that that gown was ridiculously beautiful. And that nigga is just standing there, like, bending the back of it with his presence, his existence. I'm like, I was on the phone with my friend. She was like, I can't wait for Cardi B to realize who the fuck she is so she could get rid of this nigga. Cause I feel, honestly, and I was like, same. Cause I felt like I was like the grandmother in Moana. I was like, Cardi B, who are you? Who are you? I know your name.
Oh
you know who you are. Sorry, go ahead. Y'all thoughts? Y'all got any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think he's a leech, and I think it's actually abusive what he's doing. Yes. Yeah. To me, it's actually even like more than that, because not only he's to me kind of become like, this is actually kind of scary to me, because this is kind of like predatory behavior where he's always where she is. Like, he always finds her. He's always in her pictures, stepping in front of her, grabbing onto her. When she went up to go,
it's possessive.
Yeah, when he went up to go, like, when she was talking about her Grammy win speech, he's like right over there hogging the camera. I saw a video of him this morning. She's in the booth taking a picture with her Grammy, like all Grammy winners do, and this nigga just jumps in the picture. Like, you didn't win the Grammy, fool. She did. So it's just kind of like
A Star is Born, bitch. This is a real life A Star is Born.
No, for real. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of scary, because I know they have a child together, but it's like, in my opinion, he is using that in her to, I don't know. This is some sick shit. And I really, really hope she leaves him, because she's so much better than him. My God.
Well, I was reading about like how Chris Brown apparently like was trying to disrespect him by like sending flowers to Cardi, and was like saying that, you know, he needs to take care of his business or whatever. And like, she was talking about, even in interviews, industry men coming into her DMs after she announced their breakup. And so I think like the thing about like him, and I think even we saw this thing with Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. We've been like, I don't know if you guys saw the Twitter, I forgot that girl's name, something Harvey. The way that a lot of these men think that they can treat women, and they're so used to being disrespectful to women, because the women that they're dealing with don't necessarily have other options in terms of like what they can do. And you have a woman like Cardi B, you can't disrespect her like you can like one of these other girls. Like, she has her own shit. Like, if she moves on from you, she could probably still she's more than likely going to do better. Like, she's going to find her Russell Wilson. But you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do after that? You're going to look like Future.
And even if she doesn't find a Russell Wilson, she could be just fine by herself. Like,
exactly.
She's fine.
Exactly.
For life.
Exactly. So I think like these men, and you saw it with like the way that people were talking about Trey Songz and this girl. I can't remember her name. She's Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. And it's like her and like Justin Combs, and like Future was pressed over her. And it's just like these women that like don't need these men, because they have their own like little bit of fame or clout or money or whatever, and they don't need these men, and their feelings are hurt about it. And I think that what you're seeing with him is that he realized when she left him, oh shit, like Cardi is the best thing that ever happened to Offset, because Offset is not talented. Offset will never see a Grammy. That's the closest he's ever going to get to a Grammy. Yeah. So this is it for him. And so he realized it. That's why he literally looks like the side piece that's like trying to get in all the pictures and trying to get claimed.
It's just like, it's gross. It's just like when you see someone and you're like, damn, this person is so great. And then you just break up with your girlfriend. Like, this is a situation where that I feel like is applicable, because he really is bored. Like, girl, like, I don't know. Get a job. Stay away from her. Like, it just, I don't know. It's gross.
All right. So what did y'all think of the Grammys?
Cardi's dress looked amazing.
It did.
It was 1995 Thierry Mugler archive.
Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Mugler. I think it's Thierry, something like that. Mugler.
Thierry Mugler.
Mugler.
I always pronounced it Mugler.
He did Beyonce's 2009 he did Beyonce's I Am tour. That's how I found out about him.
Oh yeah, his works are iconic. I don't think that's anything other than like Alexander McQueen that like excites me to see than his gowns.
Yeah, no, he's a legend. I thought the Grammys were I thought they weren't bad. I'll give it a C+. The black women though. Okay, here's the thing. I was tweeting this all night. The only people who really kind of slayed last night were like black girls, and that was about it. Like Janelle Monáe. Oh, and there was this random white girl. she was singing a country song, and I just remember all Black Twitter was like, who is this bitch? Like, I remember someone tweeted, Joanne is shaking, but I don't remember who this country girl is. And not the album
Casey
of the year
Musgraves?
bitch. Not Casey. Some other white girl. I can't remember, but I don't know. They all look the same. But anyway, I thought that it actually wasn't terrible, but the production though was like, oh, it was trash. They kept coming back from commercial, and you would see Alicia Keys being like, okay, but if I'm late for the break, then like, just let me know. Like, like you would see it like every time. You would see people popping up from behind the stage. You would see people with the like holding the cameras, and you normally never see that on like a production of that level. So I'm sure there were a lot of people that lost their jobs yesterday. But in terms of like the music and the awards and stuff, I literally don't care because like Chloe and Halle didn't win, and that's who I wanted to win, and I don't really care about it.
But those vocals though, they killed
Slade.
That.
Did you see their performance, John?
No, I didn't see it. I don't have cable.
Oh. Yikes. Did you see any performances or anything from like clips or anything like that?
I did see a clip. I did see Janelle Monáe's clip. That was really cool. Her choreography, her backup dancing, and then she like dedicated her performance to trans folks, and so that was really great.
She did.
Yeah, I did. I read that correctly, right? Like,
no. She did, but she didn't like say it like at the show. She like, I think she maybe said it in like an interview or something like that afterwards. Did you guys hear about what Ariana Grande did during the Grammys?
No.
How like when Cardi B won like Best Rap Album, she tweeted trash, and then like she deleted it, and I guess it was because Mac Miller was like nominated, and she said she later clarified in a tweet that because that Mac Miller was in the category, and that they invited his parents only for him to lose, and so that's why she tweeted trash. But everyone was kind of like dragging her for like being a hater or whatever. So I was just curious about like what y'all thought about that, or if you had thoughts.
Oh my god,
I get it.
Messy.
I get it, and I don't. Like, I feel like it's ugly that it was an ugly reaction. Everything doesn't need to be posted on the internet. You could have said that to yourself. But I also like get why. Like, that was her ex, and she cared a lot about him, and he died. So like, this is one of those things where I'm not gonna be like, you disgusting bitch. Like, I'm not gonna be like that.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'll say is I did not realize I followed so many Barbs until last night, and there was a lot of muting that had to go on because oh my gosh, all of the talk about Onika yesterday was just it's too much. It's just too much. That's my white woman voice. It's just too much.
That's funny because I don't follow any, I guess, because I didn't hear anything about Nicki Minaj. All I heard was Cardi. All I saw was Cardi love.
No, this is why I'm saying I did not realize that I followed people, because it was like 4 or 5 people that were like seething, and I like muted all of them, and they were just like retweeting all of the stuff. Well, Nicki doesn't need to have a Grammy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, like, I don't care. Like, we're not here to talk about Nicki right now. We're celebrating someone else. Like, it's not, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting how, like, every time Cardi does something that Nicki's going to come up now. And it's like, I don't know. It was just odd seeing all that reaction and all that stuff. Like, just let the girl, like, have her accomplishments. Her fucking husband's trying to take away from her shit. Let her have something.
Yeah, I think, I just think it's just sticks a lot of people. It doesn't sit well with a lot of people that her career moved so quickly. What did you think?
Do you guys?
Oh.
I was gonna
No, go ahead.
I was gonna talk about fashion really quick. Do you guys know who Princess Joy is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that MAGA bitch.
Like, yeah, I don't even know who she is.
She's still doing that?
She decided to wear a barbed wire dress on the red carpet, and it says "Build That Wall" on her dress.
She's so boring. She needs to do something. Can you come up with something else?
Can you come up with something else? They're still not buying your music.
She does this every year, and I'm just like, girl, like, and you still are not, your music is still not selling.
It's just
so what are you really accomplishing?
It's just so bad. Like, the barbed wire collar, the brick wall skirt, like, And then the toolbox clutch. What is happening?
It's too much. Anyway, she needed what Lady Gaga was on. That she was Lady Gaga to me was by far the highlight of the night because that bitch was high. And like when she tried to give the mic a blowjob and then when she was performing, for a second I thought she was going to stick the mic up her vagina. I literally I was so like, is this about to get bleeped out? I was on the edge of my seat. Like, it was the best Thriller movie I've seen in years, her performance. Like, amazing. And then when she got up there and won, she started like crying, like without crying. So she was without tears. So she was just like, oh my God. This is for the girls and mental health. Yeah. Rock music. Like, that's literally what she was doing. And I was like,
oh no.
Okay. So, whatever Molly she had, I would like to see it. I would like to use it.
I would like to use it.
I would like to use it.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Cardi's performance?
Slade. Perfect. Where was the flaw?
So, here was my thing. When I found out, and so initially my initial reaction was I love the production value. Like I love the costuming. I love like the I didn't love the choreography, but I loved the set design, all of that, because it reminded me of like a 1950s like Hollywood musical. It looked very Broadway. I initially was kind of like underwhelmed by it because she was obviously like lip syncing. And so I was like, well, I've seen her like not lip sync and still do like amazing like dancing. So I was just like a little taken aback by it. But then I found out that she only had like 3 days to prepare, and then I was like blown away because I was like, wow, like they put this together in 3 days. Wow, what a moment.
Well, isn't that also, I wonder if that's like going to be like what we're going to see at her Vegas residency, because if that was a way to sell tickets, look, I'm sold. I would like to see whatever I didn't honestly care about the lip syncing because it was just kind of like, when I saw she had that head mic, I was like, oh, okay, she's about to do like some choreography stuff or whatever. But it's just like, I also want to give it up to her art direction and her team and whoever, like her fashion team. Like, here's the thing. Her fashion team is on point. Her ideas are on point. Like her art direction is on point. Like she has a brand and it's like, I love it. I love seeing all of the women like, I love seeing all the women, and I love her going back to like her stripper roots and doing like stripper moves and twerking her ass. And I love it so much. And I loved when she got up and she was talking about her album and she was just like, girl, I'm stressed. I need to smoke some weed. I was like, yes! Like, it was just, like, you heard the audience go, and all the niggas were like, yeah! Like, so it's just like, I love seeing someone like her just in the position, in the positions that she's in, and like, right. Just seeing her I just remember following her on Instagram Live and like dragging people for, them not calling her black, and like, she would be like, look at my fucking hair, to like winning that's amazing. And just the glow up and just seeing how she's worked, that's inspiring to see. Like, whether or not you like her music, what she has done in the last 3 years is amazing. And I've never seen some shit like that in my life.
That's facts.
Ever.
So we're going to move on, but real quick, just fuck Barbara Ehrenreich, whatever. She said, I confess, I hate Mare Kondo. So that's how you're supposed to really pronounce it. Because aesthetically speaking, I'm on the side of clutter. As for her language, it's okay with me, but she doesn't speak English to her huge American audience. But it does suggest that America is in decline as a superpower. Girl, you sound like a white supremacist, so please cut that the fuck out.
If it quacks like a white supremacist, if it acts like a white supremacist.
Yeah, and then people are criticizing her for talking to her clothes and like saying it's a form of OCD or like some sort of mental health issue. Like, she's just cleaning her house. Like, you know what I mean? It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah.
And also her name is pronounced Mare Kondo, apparently. Not
Mare
Right,
Rakeem?
Kondo, which is what I thought.
Is that right, Rakeem?
You know what?
We were so sure Rakeem was going to know how to pronounce it because he'd always be like, hi! Height.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do not. When do I
Sakura. Sasuke. It's not Suzuki. It's Sasuke.
Okay, because it is spelled. It is
okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we just thought you might know it was Mare Kondo.
Well, I'm sorry for reading, but okay.
I'm sorry for being an educated bitch. Anyway,
so now we call me dumb again. Oh, is this what's happening?
No. Did nobody do all that?
Ooh.
Don't put no words in my mouth.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, we are building a narrative. We need to be a writer, apparently.
This is a narrative I would no longer like to be a part of, and
this is not sparking me joy. I would like to
bye.
like to get rid of this.
All right, we'll be back with the discourse.
All right.
What up? We are back with Just Over Here Discoursing. And yes, I'm going to do that literally every day because I love that accent. Today's discourse is going to be what?
Oh, nothing. That was...
you said Reenie?
Yeah.
I thought you said Rakeem. Reenie, baby, come back.
What if you did say Rakeem? Then what would you have said?
Then I would have been like, ugh. And I
would have been like, it's Mare Kondo.
Mm-hmm. And he was over here speaking Japanese in between the breaks. So like, just so y'all know.
Y'all fake.
Over here.
Shall we talk about what y'all say during the break sometimes? If we want to go there,
we don't have to talk about that.
That's what I thought.
Next question.
So for today's discourse, we're going to be talking about bullies. Did you have them, and how did you deal? Jean, did you want to get first?
Oh my
Jean's
god!
Gonna talk about us.
When I found out this was the topic, I kind of got like really depressed.
Oh
no, it's okay. It's just that like it took me back to places where like I like damn. So yeah, I did have some bullies in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I grew up, I think I've said this enough on the show, that I grew up in Moreno Valley, which is in the Inland Empire, which is like it's an interesting area. And so I don't know if I ever told you guys this story, but my family name is Jay. Like, I grew up, my mom, my brother, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, everyone calls me Jay. And so even before I knew like what my legal, like my John was my birth certificate, like I always thought my name was Jay. And so like when I went to school, I kept telling everyone my name was Jay, blah, blah, blah. But you know, when I was younger, I was very flamboyant, and I always hung out with the girls, and I would like do very girly things, or things that were, I'm like air quoting right now, like things that were meant for girls. And so like I got clocked very early on in school. And so in I think it was maybe the 5th grade, right when I was about to go to middle school, someone thought it was clever to call me Gay Jay. And so Gay Jay just like stuck with me for a very long time, and like that was just my name from then on. And then like there was even this song that these bullies made up, like people would start saying the ABCs. They'd be saying like A B C D E F G H I J is gay, and that is the punchline. And like that's when everyone started laughing. And like I got really depressed because like I forgot, someone had tweeted something recently, but like not tweeted, posted something on their Instagram story that like we were being harassed before we knew what was happening, you know, as young queer kids, like people calling us gay or faggot, like calling us out before we even knew ourselves was like this type of harassment that exclusively we experience because we don't know what's happening. And so like that kind of went with me, and that's why like in high school I got really depressed, because not only was it coming from the bullies at school, it was coming from the bullies at home. Like my dad was very I don't have a good relationship with my father. We actually don't even talk, but like when I was very young, he would tell me that, gay people are going to hell and that whoever has HIV and AIDS deserves it. And it's like God's way of getting rid of them. And like, it just stuck with me and I got really depressed. And like, I started having lunch in the library and like, I didn't feel safe and I got into this real depression. I started like reading up on suicide as a child, and someone saw me reading the book on like researching suicide statistics, how people do it at I was doing this at 15, and so like someone had reported me, and so in my sophomore year I was under suicide watch the whole year because of what was happening, which is like I look back on it and it was helpful, I suppose, but I wish I would have known who was that concerned to report me instead of talking to me directly. But so, yeah, and so, like, I was in a really bad state, and then I ended up leaving high school. Like, I didn't finish high school in a traditional setting because I wanted to kill myself. So I left. And, so basically, I didn't handle bullies very well when I was younger. I was very insecure. I didn't believe in myself. And, it wasn't until fairly recently, actually, like now in my 30s, or until after high school, or until after I came out even, I started feeling more confident in who I was. I found a close knit of friends. I found some people I could talk to. It felt very like Perks of Being a Wallflower. Have you guys seen that movie or read that book?
Mm-hmm. I saw the movie.
And in that
movie,
and like our lives are infinite.
Yeah, like it sounds almost like it, because I found some weirdos who actually went to Rocky Horror Picture shows all the time, and like I was like, oh my god, these people are cross-dressing and they're putting on makeup, and like they're like, the weird art theater kids. And so like I embraced that for a couple years and found myself, and then like I don't know, they were able to like stick up for me in like public situations, and I really appreciated that. And so I think I can't say much back then because I don't think I handled it very well, but like now, because I am more confident in who I am able to just sort of brush off these comments. And like someone calls me gay or like a faggot, it's almost like that's not even an insult to me at this point. It's just like you're stating facts, like, yeah, I'm gay. And like it's like that Ariana gif, like, and what about it, like what else is new? Like you're just pointing out facts. And so I don't know, I think what I did take away though was that I had to take myself out of that toxic environment. Like I knew that if I stayed there any longer, it wouldn't be good for me, physically or mentally or emotionally. So even though I didn't handle it directly with the bullies, because I didn't want to face it, because what are you gonna, especially back then, in the early 90s, 2000s, like you can't reporting someone for calling you gay or faggot, like nothing was being done about it, so I didn't feel safe reporting it anyway.
Right. They would have been like, and what about it? Like,
exactly. So I removed myself from there. I didn't feel safe there. And I told my parents, like, hey, I didn't tell them I was being bullied because they didn't understand it. And also my dad also, like, being homophobic as well, I couldn't tell him. So I just said, I want to go to a different school for some other reason. Like, I want to do it for academic purposes. And so that lie got me through. But it's really because I wanted to not be in that environment because it was tough. So yeah, I think it's okay. I think what I take away, again, like removing myself from somewhere where I feel in danger and taking myself where I feel safe, because that's sort of like the fight or flight instincts, like what do you do in these situations? And because it was happening so much, I thought, like, I need to do something about this, and that's what I did. And now I don't tolerate it, and now I think I have the privilege to defend myself because I'm out on my own. I have a job now. Like, I can take care of myself. I don't rely on anyone. And so when I do come across a bully, it's just like, there's other things in life that are more important than you bullying me for being faggot or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow.
that's how I do it.
Thank you for sharing, sis.
Yeah, of course. What about y'all? What are y'all doing?
Should I go or do you want to go, Ricky? But I can.
Is yours lighthearted or no?
I mean, it's bullying, so not really.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's not as sad as John's, I think.
Mine kind of is. So maybe I'll go next. Just
Okay.
get it out the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll try to not make it sad because I'm traumatized, so I use humor to get through it. So I was actually pretty bullied pretty badly too, John. Like I had I was put in a trash can. Oh, that was actually something that I was kind of shocked that. So the Crush on a Color was like, oh, what is something that you saw that happens on TV that you like would expect to happen in real life? That was something I saw on TV that I didn't think actually happened in real life until my ass was in. And I was like, did they really just put my ass in a trash? Okay. So I was actually bullied like really bad and from first grade to like 7th grade, I would say. Like there was some stuff that happened like physically, but a lot of it was just kind of kids being just assholes. Like I got put in a trash can, like I said. I had a gate pushed on me once. I was pushed downstairs. I got jumped once when I was or twice. I got jumped once when I was in 1st grade. Some dude ran up to the back of me and hit me in the back of the head with like a branch. And then I just remember like falling to the ground, and I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember like waking up in class.
Holy
and
shit.
then yeah. And then I had another, so there was that, then there was a situation where like I was literally just like walking to the line. You know how like there used to be like line leaders in, elementary school, and you would like lead the class back to the classroom or whatever?
Yeah.
I was the line leader, and this hating ass bitch couldn't take, and I just remember like walking up to the front of the line and just being like, remember like 2 or 3 people like punching or pushing me down, and then just like 4 people just like beating the shit out of me for like 30 seconds, and then like go, and I don't even know like who did it. Like I don't know who did it, like to this day. And then there, a lot of it too was just like verbal stuff. Like I got like when I finally got out of Christian school, and then I like went to, so like when I was in Christian school too, like there were things where people would do things like, they would do little like mind games. Like it was a K through 12 school. So when I was like in 4th grade, someone that was like in like that was pretty much the equivalent of like a junior in high school went up to like this 4th grader and was like, oh, you like fucked up this part you had like in your like choir solo thing. And like that singular event like developed me having anxiety now. And like it's why I don't like going out to like clubs or like the thought of someone coming up and saying like, oh, what you did like was fucked, and like kept doing that to me even though I was like I don't know, like 11 and they were like 17. And then when I got to public school, it was like, that was a culture shock because at the school I went to before was only black people, and there were like maybe 2 people there that were Mexican, and like that was about it. And I had known what white people were, obviously, because it was an all black school, so they had taught us pretty much to like be wary of everything. And I get to public school, and it was just like this huge culture shock. I was like super religious because I went to this religious school, and like people would be like, oh, he's whitewashed, he's an Oreo, he's this, he's that, he's that. And I was like, God. I was like, nigga, I'm trying to hang out with y'all. Like, all I know is like niggas. Like, so I'm like, so it, and they pretty much were just like, no, like, like, I remember this one guy, his name is AJ. He looks like a fucking Ninja Turtle. I don't know where he is now, but like, he would always like start this shit and like always say stuff. And he like made me hate black people for a really long time because it was like I was trying to like I didn't get it. And so I started hanging out with like some like Latinx people, and like then they started like saying nigga all the time, and I remember saying like don't say that, but like I didn't have any friends, and so like what was I gonna do? Like, so it was just like I was like around them, and then after that I started hanging out with like the people in leadership, and a lot of the people in leadership happened to be Asian, so my friends became Asian people, and then I realized I started like becoming like this pet, and so so it went from like being like physically bullied to like mentally being bullied to then being accepted by people finally, but not because of who you are, but because of like you're like this pet that everyone kind of like wants to touch. And so I mistook that that for like actually, you know, like affection or like people caring. So then when I go into college, it's like people treating me like a pet was what I thought was you were supposed to do. So like, you know, college was like another culture shock, because that's when I started to like really be on Tumblr and start to go to these classes where we're really having to like critically think about things. And then you start to realize just like how fucked up and like how screwed up some of this stuff is. And then you really kind of have to like do the work to unlearn it. So that was actually the first time I've told that without like getting emotional now, which is like great. But like
growth. Yeah.
But like it sucked, because for such a long time, like that kept me from making like so many connections with people, and like it has like fucked up, like it fucked up desirability politics for a really long time, and like it fucked up like the way I saw myself. Like I used to do things where like if you look at pictures of me like in high school, if people would take pictures with me, like if I wasn't smiling, I would always like put my lips in because I thought they were like too big and I didn't want people to like notice them. Or like I would like do like a pose with like my hand over my mouth or something so that like you couldn't see my lips. Or I would like when I went blonde the first times was because like I wanted to like feel like more accepted. Like I went like, and that was after I came out too, because that's a whole other thing. When you come out too, you have to like deal with all the bullying from that too. Like, cause sometimes queer people are assholes to each other. So,
right.
So it's just like, you know, I thought I was going to come out and it was going to be this huge like accepting community. And then it was more like, oh, like you're like too dark skinned. You're not muscular enough. You're ugly. Like you, like you're only good for your dick, like all this other stuff. And so my whole life has just always been like, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And then when you are good enough, you're a token, you're a pet, you're this. So it's taken, and it still is really hard to like, to overcome all of that. And it's something that I'm still like learning and still realizing that there are like residual effects from that. Even though you may think you're over stuff, there's still stuff that like lingers and you have to like do the personal work. So now I'm trying to like take more personal accountability in that and do better. So yeah.
Wow. Thank y'all for sharing.
Rakeem, yeah, thank you for telling that story. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, people suck, but it's okay.
Mine's is probably not going to be as bad as y'all's, but
that's okay. We don't want it to be.
It's fine. They just like so sorry. This is not tragic. But
so like. I want to say, what was it, 7th grade? I think I wore like the same sweatshirt every day. Like I wore the same sweatshirt whether it was hot or cold. And it was because I like I think when I hit puberty, I was so like, what's the word? Not despondent. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just felt like there was no point. I think because I became so much more aware of my sexuality and like, and the role that I was supposed to fulfill as a man, and the direction that I saw, you know, the boys that I was going to school with, it was just like not what I wanted to, the direction I wanted to go in, and I didn't see anybody that like allowed or gave me permission to be different. And so I was like, well, what's the point? I don't really necessarily want to live anyway. And like that was a feeling I had I started feeling in sixth grade. And I was just like, yeah, so like there's no point. So like I literally like wouldn't care about what I was wearing. Like I would just like I would wear stuff. Like my mom would like clean my clothes, but like I just would like not give a fuck. So like I was wearing clean clothes, but I just would wear it like every day. So I got made fun of a lot for that. You know, obviously I was called a faggot, and obviously I got made fun of because I always preferred to hang out with girls to boys. I've just always connected. Yeah, I've just always connected more. And also, like, boys are just, like, so aggressive about, like, straight boys are just always, like, we're so aggressive about everything. Like, everything. Like, always, like, making fun of everybody, like, attacking each other. And, like, not in a, like, fun, like, we kiki, like, we're shading each other, but, like, in a, like, dragging the fuck out of you. And no matter what you're feeling or, like, no concern for you. Also, like, the way they talked about girls, like, literally made me terrified for women everywhere. Like, ever just sitting around straight men listening to them talk about women is the most terrifying thing ever. The only thing more terrifying is probably being a woman and having to face it.
Right?
So,
oh my god, isn't that weird how we...
It's scary as fuck. Like, and when
it's weird how we have, like, access to those conversations. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like, just listening to it, like, made my skin crawl.
It's also
like,
odd that people, like, say that out loud and, like, feel the need that like, feel like that's okay. Like, that's...
Well, I've heard white passing people say that, like, they hear so much stuff from white people when no one of color is around because they think that they're white.
I believe it.
So,
that's
like, I mean,
terrifying.
Rashida Jones has talked a lot about that. She's like, I've heard so many. There was a conversation between her and her sister Khadida because they're both half white and half black, but Khadida looks like a light-skinned black woman, whereas Rashida, as if you are familiar with her, she looks like a white woman. And so, Khadida was talking about, like, how they were growing up and how she felt like the odd one out because they were constantly in white schools and she never got to feel like she was at home in these spaces, whereas Rashida was able to. But then Rashida talks about, like, as they grew up being in these white spaces and having people talk to her about black people in a really disgusting way and not realizing that she was a black woman. So I mean I think it's just fairly common across the board, but yeah, so like it was always just really uncomfortable, and I made attempts. I remember there was this one friend group that I had a crush on, like literally every guy in the friend group. There was one's name was Chris, Robbie, and Jake, I think. And Chris was like the light-skinned black guy. Robbie was like the all-American. Robbie looked like Chad Michael Murray and had the spiky hair and wore like Dickie shorts and like I'm going into it, but basically he did. He looked like a Chad Michael Murray, but he had like a little mole above his lip. Like he was like blonde and had like brown eyes. And I had a crush on like literally all of them. And then, but they were dicks. They were massive dicks to me. And I was like, I don't feel like comfortable. Like the way that girls interact with each other is just so different. And I was like, I prefer that. So I hung out with girls more, but then I got made fun of constantly because it was like, oh, why are you always hanging out with girls? Like you're only hanging out with girls. Like it's weird. You're gay. Do you want to be a girl? Da, da, da. So like I dealt with that. And then my friend Tiffany used to fight for me. So she didn't actually fight. But I remember one time this kid was making fun of me, and I don't remember why. He just was like going off on me. She stepped in, pushed me against the locker, stood in front of me, and was like, "I will fight you." Da 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 da. Like da da da. And then she like told like the teacher that he called her a nigger or something, and it was like the funniest thing because he didn't actually call her that, but she was just like, she was like ready to go, and she always like had my back when we were in middle school, and then in high school. I never got bullied in the traditional sense. Usually, like, everything was, like, people would make, like, little comments, but people just didn't want to hang out with me. So I was, like, kind of a loner. It wasn't until I think I remember science class, I want to say sophomore or junior year. I was in the science building in science class, and there was this guy, his name's Camden. He was a white guy, who also I had a crush on at one point, because he was actually really, really pretty. He would pick on me constantly, and there was this girl whose name was Eliza who I actually had a crush on, which is weird, but I had a crush on her, and she was like this little Filipino girl with like super long hair. Sorry, I'm like remembering this as I'm like talking about it.
Bass is literally going down memory lane.
I am going down memory lane. So I had a crush on Eliza, and I used to go and like sit at their table and like talk to her or whatever. But Camden would also sit at the table, and he like felt away about it. So he used to like constantly make comments and say little things to me, and like jab at me and just talk shit to me. And so he was like not twice my height, but like he was like a foot taller than me. And that was also probably a huge part of why I had a crush on him, because he was so tall. But I remember one time, like, I like got so pissed because he kept fucking with me, and I like got up and I was like, what? Like, what's up? And I was like, post up, and we like fought in the middle of the class. Like, we went like to blows. I blacked out in anger, so I don't even remember like what happened, but apparently I got my ass beat. I later found out. But we were in the office after that, in the principal's office, and she was like, is this gonna be an issue? And I was just like, it's gonna be an issue as long as he keeps fucking with me. So if he wants to keep doing this, we could do this every day. I was like, I'll get my ass beat every day, but we're gonna do this every day until he leaves me the fuck
I'll
alone.
get my ass beat on site.
Oh, yes, on site. And so I was like, we can do that. And it was funny because after that, people made fun of me for getting beat up by a white boy, but he never bothered me again.
Wow.
So that's literally like, that's how I dealt with it. Like, that's always been my way of dealing with bullying, because I think like all throughout middle school, I had no type of, I didn't have the self-esteem to even defend myself. I didn't think I was worth defending. And it was only in high school when I was just like, oh no, y'all not gonna do this to me. Like, I'm not gonna be bullied. Like, you don't have to be my friend. You don't even have to like me, but we're not gonna do this. And so later on in shop class, I remember senior year, I think it was shop class, there was this guy named Andretti. Fucking Andretti. I hate his ass. Anyway, I actually ended up liking him. He was cool. Like, we ended up being cool with each other after this. But he started some shit with me. He kept starting shit with me, so I was ready to fight. I was like ready to fight. I think I smacked him with a book, but I don't remember for sure if I
Oh my god, babes.
But he was trying to fight me, and he was trying to punk me, because these straight boys were always trying me.
No, I got it.
They were always fucking trying me, so I was like, well, we gonna do this.
Do you remember the scene in Moonlight where like Sharon just like gets the chair and just like whacks that bitch? That's what I was picturing Baze doing.
That's literally what I was ready to do. It never got to that. Well, I mean, it came to blows, but that was it. So like, I think for me, that was really my bullying, was just like I was bullied until I got to a point where I was forced to believe that I was worth defending, and then I had to be the one to defend myself, because obviously nobody else was going to do it than that one friend that I had. So I got to a point where I was just like over it, and I was just like, you know, and I'm not going to lie, like, I was annoying in high school. I was definitely annoying, and like, that makes sense. Like, of course, like, you're going to pick on people that are annoying. But also, a lot of the things that were happening were not okay, and I was forced into a corner a lot of the times, and so I did what I had to do. So that's how I dealt with my bullies.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be the person that says don't fight your bullies, because honestly, sometimes bullies need to get their ass beat. So,
I think I will be the person to say don't use violence. I'm
not going to be that person, because look, if someone hits you, like if someone puts their hands on you, I'm not going to be like, just sit there and let them put their hands on you. Like,
no, I mean, no, that's different. Self-defense is a different thing from like starting it.
Yeah. Oh, no. Don't, like, I'm not saying walk up to someone and be like, look, you've been talking shit, we're about to fight. But, like, right, violence, fine. Violence should not be, wait, let me not say it like that. Like I'm being forced to say violence is bad. But, you should not go and seek someone out, yes. But, if
violence is the answer sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. I wish because when I was younger, my mom kept telling me like, don't hit them back, Rakeem, don't hit them back. And my aunt was like, Rakeem, beat the shit out of them if they touch you. And I wish I listened to my aunt, because it was just like, I didn't hit them back because I didn't want to seem like a bad person, instead of and like the need to not be seen as a bad, aggressive person came over the need for my safety. And so that's why I would tell myself, like, no, like, you are not a bad person for defending yourself if someone attacks you. And that's what I meant.
Yeah, my uncle always told me, like, my uncle was like the main disciplinarian in my life, which is probably why I don't talk to him that much anymore. But he always told me, like, if somebody's messing with you, tell the teacher first. But he was like, if they keep messing with you and they put their hands on you, defend yourself, and you're not going to be in trouble when you get home.
Right.
He was like, do what you handle yours, because if you don't, they will keep messing with you. Oh. As long as people think they can mess with you, they will continue to do so. So you got to set boundaries. Now, you don't necessarily have to set them violently, but sometimes it calls for it. So.
And it should not be your job to have to set the boundaries. Like, that shouldn't happen to you in the first place, but, you know, shit. life is life. I guess I don't know. It's not fair, and no one should have to deal with it. But do we have any closing thoughts? I guess, or should we do?
I just think that every situation calls for something different, and also we all have our own things that we like are comfortable with doing. Like, everyone's not a fighter. Everyone's not like, everyone's not someone who's going to talk about things. Like, some people need to like get it out aggressively. So like, I don't think there's any one way to handle bullies. Like, there's no one answer, because you never know. Like, you might try to fight them and they might bring a knife to school the next day. Like, who knows?
You never know.
So it's just like, I feel like you should just do what you feel is best for you in your specific situation. Whatever you feel safe doing, I think you should do that. Obviously, I don't think that violence is the first response that you should have, but I also think that sometimes you got to take care of your business, and if that's what it calls for, that's what it calls for.
That's really solid advice. I think you should be confident in how you feel like you should handle it, but also like set your own limits and your own boundaries. And be able to take a step back and think about how, I know depending on the situation, we might not have a lot of time to think about how to handle things appropriately. But if you do have the time to think about something, I would say take advantage of that, because if you react too quickly, it might come back to bite you in the ass. So, yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna move on to one letter. We're gonna read that really quickly. And then we're gonna close out the episode.
Okay.
So
just read the letter.
So they said, "Hola, trash bags. A little español para da culo."
They did not say that. They didn't say that.
They literally said that.
Oh my god.
So they said, "I've loved tuning in every Tuesday morning to listen to you gals and consider your discourse on certain topics to be so necessary. In particular, discussing abusive, toxic relationships, Nas and Khalees combo, amongst others, to your experience with sexual assault. I found myself going back into your older episodes for guidance over an interrelated topic and found myself feeling empty. I was wondering if y'all would be open to discussing intimate partner violence, domestic violence, and gaslighting in queer couples of color as one of your discourses." Definitely. Honestly, that is, we'll have to mentally prepare for that. Yeah. But I'm totally down to have that conversation. This is an area I have recently had to struggle through and experience. I and my now ex-partner were in an interracial relationship. I am Latinx and he is Black. I have recently summed up the courage to separate after our long-term relationship and living together had become so deleterious. Ooh, I don't know that word, girl. Thank you.
Ha, dumb bitch.
On my
don't know that word, do you, babes? Huh?
Anyway, on my mental health and physical safety. He is a military combat veteran and has resulting mental health issues as a result, and has relied on that to rationalize his behavior, cheating, physically and psychologically abusive. I have been empathetic to it and overly forgiving. I, being a mental health professional, seemed to be an attractive quality to him, and I thought it would be helpful in our relationship as well. And as an identifier, he is a Black man. I have been reluctant to consider going about a legal route, calling 911 when he becomes violent towards me, restraining order to get him to move out, pressing charges, etc. Because I have been terrified of what could happen to him as a result of the future implications it could have as well. Even when his physical violence towards me has resulted in visits to the hospital and medical bills. I've been torn because we are both men of color in a conservative town, especially with him being Black, and have found myself excusing his behavior in order to protect him, in other words, forgiving the perpetrator, as well as feeling shame towards myself and allowing this to continue to happen. There are too many things to dissect in this. This has demanded a taxing amount of self-reflection, awareness, self-advocacy, and hope. I'm thankfully nearing the end of this life event, and I'm hopeful that you have a conversation about it and potentially your own experiences, especially on your platform, could potentially help someone else and normalize that anyone can experience this and that you do not have to tolerate it nor do it alone. And they go on to say a few other things about research. Ooh, okay. So I misunderstood and thought this was no, I guess it kind of is a little bit of a question, because you're kind of talking about the fact that you feel reluctant to get the authorities involved. I'm all about prison abolition, and I'm all about like protecting Black lives. That being said, I am a strong believer in not protecting
abusers.
I mean, you're not a Black person, so this is not maybe something that you continuously come up with, but for me personally, I've talked a lot about not protecting Black people at my own expense. So not protecting straight Black men. In your case, I would not protect my abuser from the police. I get the fear too because you're also a person of color, so, and you're also saying that you're in a conservative town, so like it might be scary for you overall, and like you definitely have to do whatever feels like safe for you. But if I were you and he was attacking me physically, and I didn't feel like I could defend myself, then I would definitely be calling the cops, because, you know, it sucks that that's what we have to do. But I feel like in this situation, you don't really have a lot of options unless you know somebody who could come in and break some kneecaps, you know?
Yeah, I would. Jesus, questions like this, I just always kind of scare me because I'm scared to like say something like wrong because this is like so serious. I agree with what Baze says. I also don't believe just because he's black doesn't mean that he's incapable of like doing things that are shitty or doesn't need to be punished for them. Just because someone is a person of color does not mean they can't be a piece of shit. And I think that we need to sometimes like make that distinction too. Like, especially, and I think some abusers actually like do that on purpose too, because like they know that like their partners, not all, but I think that some, I've heard of situations where people do stuff like that because like they know that they're, you know, so it's just, I would just say if you do feel like you want, maybe the restraining order might be the better idea first, or something like that, because that's like something where officers don't have to like physically like, you don't have to like physically see them for that, right? Like you can just like go in and like file it, or
yeah. I mean, I think it's a little complicated because they live with each other.
Well,
would that not complicate it?
Well, I think you would need to get out of that situation first. Like, I don't think you should live with someone who treats you like that. But I don't know I don't know your situation. But mostly I agree with what Bay says. And, I think that if you feel in your heart of hearts that calling the police and getting the authorities involved is the correct line of action, and the only reason you're hesitating is because he's black, then I think that you should just do it, because your safety is absolutely important, and your well-being should not come at the cost of someone who does not value and care and respect you.
That part, exactly. He's not concerned for you when he's hurting you. So
I'm telling you, because we're taught that we're supposed to be nice people, and that like doing stuff like that is like makes you this. It doesn't. Like, your safety is so important, so don't take that for granted. Like, that's important too.
Yeah. So, John, did you have anything to add?
No, I think you guys said it. I can't. Yeah, I think that's it's good to know your boundaries, and I hope that it works. I'm afraid to speak on this too, like Rakim was saying. Like, I don't want to give the wrong advice, so no, I don't have a lot to say.
Also,
that's fair.
Okay. Also, I just want to. I feel like we should give a disclaimer, even though it's pretty obvious. Like, we're not like professionals in this, so like, yeah. Please take everything we say with like a grain of salt. Like, I just want to say that because we do take the letters like very seriously when we're reading things like this, and a lot of the times like we don't we're hearing them for the first time like as Baze is reading them a lot of the time. So like we're not like coming up with like these genius ideas like on the spot. So really do take like what we say with a grain of salt, especially in situations like this. And then we might even like respond like later on if we have more time to think about it. So yeah. But anyway, is that it for everyone? Does everyone else?
I just wanted to say one quick little thing that I hate that I have to even do this, but so yes. So last week I talked about being like really upset and like depressed and all that other stuff. Basically, a few weeks ago my relationship ended, and I'm now in a position where I don't know where I'm going to live, and I also like my job. New York is a much easier city to live in when you have a partner. And it's I'm finding out how difficult it is to find housing when you don't. And So it's funny because I'm like, I think I've become like such a like, I've like been raging about minimum wage because I make more than minimum wage and I'm still like out here like struggling to find a place that's within my budget. And I'm just talking about a room. I'm not even talking about like a 1-bedroom apartment or like a studio. I'm just talking about like a room is like so much money here. So, I'm currently just looking for first a higher paying job. So if anybody knows of anything like that, like I'm literally like, as long as it's not like some like, I don't know, like CEO position or something, like some like really high up position, like I can like adapt, learn anything. I have a lot of experience with event coordinating, clerical work, with writing. So like, just like if you like hear of anything that is like based in New York, I'm also kind of thinking about like becoming a flight attendant. So if you have the hookup, I love Delta. So if you have the hookup at like Delta or American, literally any airline that's not Spirit, I'm down. Yeah. Yeah, we're not working at Spirit. But yeah, like, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really tough for me right now. And yeah, I just would really appreciate any type of, resource that would help me find one, a room, and also, a newer job. So yeah.
Well, does that feel good to like get that
Sorry,
off?
Baze.
And we're sorry.
No, because I everyone that like I like love knows about it, so it's not like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's not something I really wanted to talk about publicly. But I'm also not ashamed of it or anything. Like it's something I probably would. I would feel I would probably feel more comfortable talking more about it if it didn't also expose his business.
Oh,
because it's so intricately tied that I can't really. I don't mind talking about my part in it, but it doesn't. I can't talk about that without not talking about his shit too. So it like I have to be more guarded with it publicly. But everyone that I like that's in my personal life knows about it and knows the details of the situation. So yeah. Do I feel better now having told the world or whoever listens to this podcast? Not necessarily, but I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm better than I was a week or even 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to take that every day, you know, at a time.
Yeah. And then we have some really great listeners. And if anyone has any leads for anything regarding what Baze had mentioned about jobs or housing, please let us know. Let Baze know. You guys, like, as much as y'all come to us for some things, like, you guys really point out some stuff for us too. So that's really helpful, and we'd appreciate it right now. So thank you, Baze, for sharing with the world. I hope you're doing okay.
Thank you. I'm doing better. So I'm not good, but I'm doing better, and I think that that's still like an important distinction.
Yeah,
progress.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we're going to end this episode of Podcast of Color. You can find us on Twitter at Trash of Color and everywhere else at Podcast of Color. Send your emails and honey roasts and all that good shit over to podcastofcolor@gmail.com. And with that, we will see y'all next week.
Renee Baze, Rakim Don, 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 Renee Baze, Rakim.